Hi, this is Daniel Roth. I'm the executive editor of LinkedIn. We're thrilled to have with us today Jack Welch, the former CEO of GE, the best-selling author, and the executive chairman of the Jack Welch Management Institute. Jack, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Dan. It's great to be here.
Great to have you. So I wanted to start off with a quote I read that you gave recently, where you were talking about MBAs, and you said the traditional MBA is, and this is your quote, a gracious way to change jobs because you made a mistake. And if you look at your recent book is about how to earn an MBA while just reading this book. You have your Management Institute is about being able to accomplish an MBA before work or after work or at odd hours, and no matter where you are. You're such a competitive person. What made you turn your attention to the MBA as the place where you wanted to strike?
Well, I wanted to strike in education. Okay. I think education is a less than competitive field. Cost continues to go up, and it's moving away from most people. So I went to the online school after teaching at MIT for 5 years, where I was teaching 35 people, to now teaching 1,000 as our MBA school is growing rapidly. Mm-hmm. And we're doing it in a professional business way, where the student is the customer, not the faculty. And so we're serving student needs there. And in the book, look, we're not against MBAs, traditional MBAs. We're all for them, but they're expensive. Oftentimes they fit the need of the quote I just said. But that's not, in general, they're great. But it takes a lot of time and a lot of money to get one. We're offering alternatives.
And at MIT, did you feel like that was the case, of that it was designed for faculty or to make sure that to keep people employed?
That's not quite right, keep people employed. We say it's not as rigorous. There's not evaluations that are as tough. Once you get tenure, you're there. MIT is a great school. I love teaching there. But I was teaching 35 kids in a class. And they were there for 2 years. They had given up full-time jobs. Now, they were great students, smart, learning a lot. I loved it. Now I'm engaged with 38-year-olds who are middle managers, working hard, keeping their job, getting promoted within their company, not looking to jump companies.
You're famous in your career when you were at GE for exiting businesses where you weren't number one or number two. Is your desire to be number one or number two in the entire MBA world? Do you want this to be a replacement for a Harvard MBA or to push Stanford out of the top 5?
Different game. We're now, as I may have mentioned to you a minute ago, we've been chosen the number one online MBA program by CEO Magazine. We want to just get recognized by more and more people, by LinkedIn, by others, as being a hot MBA place. Now, we're not replacing. We don't have the socialization you get at a Harvard or an MBA. We don't have the contacts yet you get from going to those schools. We don't have the reputation you get from those schools. You know, we're not there, but we're beginning. We got the seeds of an economic program that allows somebody to get all the practical aspects of running businesses, how to hire, how to fire, how to lead, how to motivate, build teams, how to differentiate and resource allocate. All those things we teach. That's what you do at work every day. You don't study theories. So we've got our practical niche that's cost effective and people in current jobs can take.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you mentioned in the book. And you talk about the speed, the changing speed of business. You recommend the strategy sessions, which I assume at GE, these were at room. You get people in a room, people would spend months planning them. You're saying it might make sense now to do these weekly, and you talk about a couple examples where that happens.
Well, you want to close the cycle.
Okay.
You can't get these things. It's like budget reviews in big corporations. In my first days in GE, 35 years ago, in my first CEO jobs, people were preparing the budget starting in July for the big show and tell in December. By that time, today, the world is upside down. Just think of the world today. 6 months ago, did you think the euro would be at 110 to the dollar instead of 140?
Right.
So we all had presentations about everyone was going global, how foreign it was. Pfizer's got 60% of their earnings overseas. GE's got 50. Now, right now, today, you'd like to be all domestic to report those earnings. But that's not a long-term strategy. But business changes so fast. Oil. I was in pitches 4 months ago, 5 months ago, where everybody was showing me we're in the Dakotas, we're in the Bakken, we're in this Marcellus. Here's what we've built, take stuff over here. Now, oil? We don't know oil. What do you mean we're in oil? We don't have as many time in oil. We're focused over here. The whole world changed. Oil and currency in 6 months have flipped upside down. So if you built your plans all around, if you can't move, you're dead.
So what do? You're a big company. You have massive investments, tons of people. You've got plans that even though you say make strategy sessions all the time, you have to know what's going on. You have to be able to change. Big companies can't change quickly. Does that put them at a disadvantage? What do you do?
Every big company's got to be a small company in their head. You want the muscle of a big company and the soul of a small company. I fought for that every day. I never got all the way there, but I fought for it every day. You want to make companies informal so they can move quickly. No Mr. This, Mr. that. Get on it. Get at it. And everything's got to be able to adapt. Okay, now, oil is doing this. What's changed in your transportation costs? You now have a huge benefit. We have businesses like Terminex and our private equity company and True Green that have thousands of trucks. It's a home run. Costs have come down 50% in fuel. And that's a huge part. We have one business that's getting a $50 million profit swing from fuel costs. So that all these different things have got to, you got to be able to take advantage. How are you taking advantage of it? You don't want to be hedging fuel right now. You want to be acting on it. All these things. And we're locked into hedges in some businesses that we wish we didn't have. So you've got to be constantly looking at speed, agility. You've got to have the small startup mentality and use the muscle of a big company. It's the perfect combination.
So how do you do that? You have someone who is a middle manager. A lot of the people I would assume who are entering your school, these are people who have come up through to a certain level in their career. They're not trying to figure out what to do next. How do they can't always take risks. Maybe they're scared to take risks. Maybe they aren't sure oil has changed, but it might go back up tomorrow. What's the strategy for someone who wants to preserve their job but also be able to take these risks? What do you tell individuals?
Well, you want people to think every day about speed. So you think things like layers. So if you're a middle manager, how tough, if I'm a middle manager, how tough am I making it for you to get things done? Am I making you go through 2 people to come to me? Have I got a system where I can get action because of you? Or am I a pain in the ass with layers in there, making you get approval, checking on somebody else? What do you think Dan will think about this? No, I want you to be spontaneous. I want you at me. So you're always talking about that small company speed. You always want your people to know where they stand. See, one of the things about appraisals for people, appraisals shouldn't be every year. The world changed in a year. They've changed in a year. They've got a sick uncle, a sick kid, they haven't behaved well, or they've had a great run. Whatever it might be, you got to let them know, here's what you're doing right, here's what you can do to improve. And you got to be on them all the time. You're too slow. You're not moving fast enough. Come on, take a swing, I'll back you up. Because leadership today is all about 2 words, Dan. It's all about truth and trust. You've got a conference room right now across the hall there. People walk into your conference room. You're the boss. They're spinning you. They're giving you a flavor that might sell, you might like, etc. If a neon light was flashing on the room, truth only, think how much faster you'd be. You didn't have to go through what do they really mean? But that only comes from trust. That's why all these leadership books and stuff about leadership, it's all crap.
Do you think it's that easy? Is basically tell your
trust.
people if they have to?
Your people, you've got to build trust. You've got to have their back when they didn't hit it out of the park. You've got to have their back when they hit it out of the park. When they trust you, you'll get truth. And if you get truth, you get speed. If you get speed, you can act. That's how it works.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. It was fun.